everyone, this is the Final Bosman, and on today's episode, I begin to get over E3. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and what a week that was, huh? It is certainly in the books. And despite what was happening in my own personal GT bubble, a lot happened last week at E3. Pretty eventful E3. And as you probably know, press conferences are my favorite part of E3, so let's talk about those. First, we had Microsoft. Microsoft had an excellent press conference. Last year, Microsoft's press conference was mostly games, pretty good. This year, it was all games. Phil Spencer came in, head of Xbox. He promised, I'm bringing games. Names the Xbox Game On. And then that press conference was games, and a lot of CG trailers. There was rumors of a huge megaton coming from that press conference. It never happened. I think probably the best press that happened at the Microsoft press conference was just that Master Chief Collection, Halo Master Chief Collection, Halos 1 through 4, 4,000 achievement points. Think of the value, like, oh, all right. And what I thought was kind of funny is after the whole event, the official Xbox Twitter account tweeted out this picture of a dropped microphone, just like, we did it. That was it, everybody. Impressed? And I think that Microsoft anticipated a larger reaction to their press conference than the one they received. And if they're wondering why, hey, I think that we already knew Crackdown 3 was coming. And so knowing it's coming and then seeing a CG trailer doesn't have a big impact. A CG trailer for that game, it tastes like water. It doesn't get us cheering and shouting up and getting out of our desks. I think we're in an age where CG trailers don't have the impact they did in 1996. Yeah, there's still a place for them. They're still fun to watch sometimes. But there's also something really great to watching something live. If you think of that Mortal Kombat X reveal, CG, that was not a great reveal. But if you think of what they showed at Sony's press conference, this gameplay, much more exciting. There's much more to it than that. And it's kind of like watching a live event. Something is more raw, more believable when it's gameplay and more exciting. Lesson learned from Microsoft, CG trailers do not have a big impact if we already know your surprises. Final score, 5 out of 10. Let's talk about EA's press conference. Prior to E3, EA proudly announced that it would be showing off 6 new games at E3, including Star Wars Battlefront 3. And then you saw what those were. They were 3 of those 6 new games, conceptual prototypes. Don't get too excited, everybody. Here's some art. Here's some textureless polygons. What are you doing? BioWare is proud to announce we're working on a new IP, and we can't wait to tell you more about it. Then don't tell us anything yet. Don't not tell us that. Lesson learned from EA, you can definitely show a game too early. Final score, 2.1. Ubisoft had what I think was a pretty good show. They showed a variety of things. I think Far Cry 4 showed pretty well. Rainbow Six, The Siege, it looks interesting. I love this idea of just like, all right guys, we set up, we defend this house, and then the other team is gonna we gotta plan out how to invade this house. That's fun multiplayer. That's an interesting concept. Valiant Hearts, that's not the kind of trailer you're used to seeing in a press conference. Even the Division's trailer was pretty heavy. Heavy stuff. Shape Up, a fitness game that looks like fun, and I tried it for a little bit. Shape Up is fun. Ubisoft, what we learned? We learned that you can have a jokey host who's gonna swear at you and you're gonna have to deal with that, and also have very serious games and trailers, and they can exist in the same world. Final score, 5.2. Sony's press conference. Oh boy. Remember, everyone, Sony was broadcasting its press conference live to movie theaters. People were sitting in theater seats watching this press conference, and parts of it were great. Some great on-stage demos of people playing games. I think Batman showed really well, though I don't think that was played live because Batman looked perfect. It looked like very rehearsed. It looked like tool assisted, like when you watch somebody play through Mario 3 perfectly. Far Cry 4 also had a really good gameplay demo during Sony's press conference. They made some Final Bosman references. That's always a plus. And then some of my favorite actual game trailers from E3 were shown during this press conference. Predominantly No Man's Sky. That one just makes my face wet. I'm just crying that whole time. 2 No Man's Sky trailers. Great showcase. Thank you for showing that. But at the same time, this press conference it hit some real lulls. It's just sometimes dragged. It seemed intentional. Like, why are you dragging us down so much? If you remember, prior to E3, I had this whole show about like, here's why you can be hyped for this press conference. Here's why maybe you can be cynical. Why I said you could be hyped for Sony's press conference is that we didn't know what's coming out in fall of 2014 for Sony. You know, they had Drive Club, and it's like, what else are they gonna have? They gotta have something. And at E3, we learned it's Little Big Planet 3. Which, I mean, to its credit, yes, I loved that onstage demo. That looks like fun. Little Big Planet 3, I'll probably play, but I think we all expected probably something more than that. I think we expected a surprise or something huge from Sony this fall. No exclusive Sony games that are gonna shatter the earth this fall. Lots of exclusive content though. And this is the first time we saw Sean Layden, who, you know, we learned he's a weirdo. He's a total weird guy who likes to talk with his hands, which obviously I can relate to, but it also seemed like he was no fun. If you're gonna step into Jack Tretton's shoes, you gotta start with a joke. That's one thing Jack was great at. You gotta be like Jack. Instead, he seemed very stiff. He seemed like distant from us, you know what I mean? It wasn't just like a, hey everybody, let's all be the same. It's kind of just, let me report everything I have to report to you. Which is fine, I guess, but there are people in a movie theater watching you right now, Sean Layden. Give us something. Oh, and I think the depths of the entire press conference was this long talk about a new series exclusively coming to Sony for Powers, based off the comic book Powers. You have to have PlayStation Plus to watch the entire series. We are casting now, and it will debut in December. And all we have to show for it at this moment is this concept art. Just remember that you had people in a movie theater watching this press conference. Like, what are you doing? Lesson learned from Sony, show The Last Guardian. Final score, 4.4. Nintendo killed it. I think that the question, who won E3, is absurd. Because most of the time, the company that wins was just the one that was the most misleading. However, I do believe Nintendo won E3 this year. Crazy. Nintendo, how did you do that? Started with this digital event. Very well produced. I think better than any of us expected to see. World opens with Reggie fighting Iwata. I'm hyped. But then beyond that, it has these interviews, which were interesting, actually, and just like beautifully shot. And to me, just such a better way of conveying information. If you're at a press conference and you're like, and Hyrule Warriors will have many characters to unlock, and each character has a special weapon. I'm proud to announce Midna. It's way better to have that in those interviews where they're all sitting cross-legged and just, it feels more natural. Even those Robot Chicken interstitials, I wasn't laughing at them. You know, those jokes didn't quite hit with me, but they're great. Great in a way of mixing up pacing. When you're putting together a show, this kind of thing is beautiful. You like this kind of interstitial continuously going out there. Very well produced show. I assume it was actually pretty expensive. I think it was worth every penny. And to step out of the digital event for a second, Nintendo did a lot of really great things with like its Treehouse Live. It was broadcasting all day long with developers and like people who are very familiar with these games, and it was fun and funny and all day long, and I think it was a great destination. The Smash Bros tournament, while competitively a little silly, you know, I mean, none of these people have played this game for very long, and Zelda for the Wii U was discussed during this press conference, during this digital event, and that game is everything we've been asking a Zelda game to be. Anuma is just like, hey everybody, I know what you want, and I'm making that. Here it is. And then they showed it, and it's just the Zelda game where you can go wherever, and there's no linear oh my goodness. If that game turns out to be everything it's promised to be, Wii U is gonna be fine, everybody. That's the thing. That's what this digital event has done. It has somehow convinced me to believe that the Wii U is gonna be fine, and that, everyone, is demented. You should not think that. So going back just to the digital event, it had new games and new tones and new free stuff. Kirby was made out of clay. Lesson learned from Nintendo, try new stuff. It works at E3. Final score, 5.4. And now I just want to do some very short, very brief, tiny takeaways from E3. First, I think E3 has never been more fun for just a person sitting at home to watch. These streams, everyone had a stream. Yeah, Nintendo had a stream. I think Sony had a stream. I think Microsoft had a stream, but like so did GameSpot, and so did IGN and Twitch. Everybody had streams, and I think it's never been more fun just to sit back and watch E3. You've never been able to watch more than you have today, and I think that's very encouraging. I hope it continues and expands because sharing E3 is a great thing. Takeaway number 2, Homefront: The Revolution doesn't look bad. Why? Where did Homefront come from? Takeaway number 3, amiibos are a sham. Actually, I want to go on an amiibo tirade if I can. So it's the last episode of Santa Monica. I might as well. Here we go. Amiibos. Oh my gosh, they infuriate me. When Nintendo first showed off gamepad, it had that little icon. It's like, here's where you touch NFC things. It's like, okay, Nintendo has a plan for NFC. First game with NFCs, this Pokemon Rumble game. It's like, oh, it's digital only. You can only buy the figures at GameStop. Here you go. And that game, by all accounts, was just a stiff old Tootsie Roll you find. Like, oh, here's a little Tootsie, oh, gross. What is it? Like, why did that's what that game is. And so, in May, during its investor briefing, Iwata was talking to all the Nintendo investors and said, okay, we're finally gonna take NFC seriously. Here's what my idea is. We're gonna have, look at this little Mario figure, and you can use him across 3 different games. That's what makes us better than Skylanders. You can use this character in multiple different games. Skylanders, you can only use in Skylanders. So check this out. Ugh. So we knew it was coming at E3 this year. We knew they were gonna talk about NFC. And the first game that NFC was shown for was, of course, Smash Brothers. And boy, was I was incensed. I was like, oh my gosh, don't you silly Smash Brothers with these silly toys. Don't do that to me. However, these amiibos, as they were announced, they're actually pretty cool in Smash Bros. Basically, you buy a figure, you buy a little villager, and villager becomes your sparring partner, basically. You fight against the villager and it learns, you fight as it and it levels up, and you just level this guy up and it just becomes your dude, basically. Pretty cool. And so you can go to your friend's house and at the character select screen, you can bring it out and say, hey, does anyone mind if my amiibo joins the battle? And they say, yeah, don't. Humans only. That's the worst that can happen. You just have to put your amiibo away. Because I assume that's what's going to happen. Nobody wants to fight your amiibo, you weirdo. What sort of implementation will your Wii Fit Trainer amiibo have in Mario Kart 8? Probably nothing. I'm assuming nothing. I'm assuming you put your amiibo on Mario Kart 8 and nothing happens. Because they didn't plan for this. Amiibo, you didn't have a plan. You know, what amiibo represents to me is just this folded-armed guy who's like looking at Skylanders and says, oh, toys and games? That's pretty simple, I can do that. And then this is what comes out. Skylanders and Disney Infinity, forgive me for saying this, are good games. Those are well thought out games. These toys you buy, those are your characters in those games. You grow attached to these characters, you level up with them, and then when you buy the sequel, you bring your character with you. When you buy Wii Fit Trainer, that's probably it. That's probably only gonna work in Smash Bros. And if it does work in Mario Party 10, not to some great extent. You know, you're not bringing your Wii Fit Trainer into Mario Party 10. I think amiibos will totally sell well because they're beautiful looking little figurines. And I just think that you know what? I shouldn't be so mad. The thing is, yes, amiibos are way dumb, but at the same time, they are not negatively affecting the game's design because they're clearly added as a second thought. They're too lazy. Amiibos are lazy little dumb little shams. But they're a cool thing to have on your desk, I guess. Amiibo. Anyway, that's the episode for this week. If you are on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. Quickly, before we go, I have to give up another building. When I was at E3, I ran into a person. He comes up to me and he says, hey, you never gave me a building. And I said, what? And he showed me this tweet from August where he said, he pointed it on, hey, you touched your nose. And I checked the episode. I really did very deliberately touch my nose, which is flagrantly against the rules. So to @TrevorCaudle, you get a building. Let's see what you get. You know, you can have this red one. You can have this one that's attached to the red sign. That is the @TrevorCaudle building. By the way, everyone, probably the last time you'll ever see the Santa Monica backdrop. That's it, because we're moving. That's right, last Monday, GameTrailers was sold to Defy Media, and on Friday, GameTrailers suffered massive layoffs, and that is a thing that happened, and I'm going to miss all of those people big time. This was probably the greatest work environment I'm ever going to have in my entire life, but we have to move on. We gotta, Game Trailers must go on, and so we're moving, and it's going to take a lot to rebuild. It's going to be a while, I think, to reestablish where we were. Final Bosman officially on hiatus. I will return though. The Final Bosman will continue. A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do. I'll be back. I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye, backdrop. Bye, Naughty Dog mug. Bye, bushes. And Tiny Desk. Probably gonna miss you most of all. Psych! When I said I'm gonna miss everyone in this office, I lied. Because I am not gonna miss you. And I guess I wanted to say that I'm grateful that you used your light screens to protect me from Joe Biden's special attacks. So, thank you. And I guess, in the end, you weren't a bad executive producer. Yeah, maybe. No, you can't come with me. Because I'll set my traps. You're gonna get caught in my traps. What do you mean he's still alive? I don't believe you. Don't even joke about that, because that is what people will say. I know it is. I can already tell you their comments now. New Game Trailers sucks. You know, it's not the same. The magic's gone. I know they're gonna say that. And like, my fear is that it's probably gonna be true. Like, New Game Trailers probably will be weird. But you know, we gotta try. We gotta put our best foot forward and all that. Okay, buddy. Yeah, you too. No, I am not gonna miss you. I promise. Get over yourself.